Okay, so for today's lesson, it is 7.1 and it is how many are in one. So the objective for today is you're going to determine how many objects you would need to create a whole one for what it's asking. And when I show you the first example, it'll make more sense. So you're going to be given a problem that looks something like this. And it's going to tell you that there are a certain amount of items in a fraction of the product. And then you have to determine how many objects would be in the whole container. So for example, if we're talking about like cookies, let's use cookies as an example because who doesn't love cookies? So if I said there were 6 cookies in half of the container, and I wanted you to figure out how many cookies were in the entire container, that's what you're trying to solve with these problems. You're trying to figure out how many are in all. With given only a certain amount, a certain fraction of the whole, you're trying to figure out how many are in all. So we're going to do some examples, and then you'll complete a Google form. I think for the most part, based on our previous experience, that you guys will pick up on this really quickly. And we will also go over it when you are working with me at the kidney table. So for this one, let's start with this. So we have six cookies in half of the box. Okay, if it helps to draw visuals for this, go right ahead. And we know that our box is split directly in half. So on the other side, we're probably going to have another 6 cookies, which would mean in total, in this box, there would be 12 cookies. All right, let's do another one. So there are 3 cookies in a fourth of a box. Okay, so we took that box, split it into 4s, and we know that in this fourth there are 3 cookies. We need to figure out how many cookies would be in all. So there's 3 cookies here, 3 cookies here, 3 cookies in this one, and 3 cookies in this one. And I know that 3 times 4 is going to get me to 12 cookies. All right. If you needed to, you could draw those 3 cookies in just so that you have some of a visual for you, because you know that there are 3 cookies in 1/4. You don't have to if you can figure it out without using the visual, but you can. So the next one, this one I didn't start off with a visual because I want to show you how we'll think it through. So we know that there are 12 cookies in 3/4 of the box, and we need to figure out how many are in all. So I'm going to draw up my box. I'm going to divide it into 4 equal sections, and I know that in 3 of my fourths, I have to divide 12 cookies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so it looks like in each fourth, I'm going to have 4 cookies, which means in my last fourth, I'm also going to have 4 cookies. So in all, 4 times 4, which is going to get me to 16. There are 16 cookies in my box. All right, the last one for you today for your practice problem with me is 10 2/5 of the box. You need to figure out how many are in all. Once again, if you can't figure this out in your head, it's totally okay. I'm not expecting you to. I personally, because this is the first time we've been doing it, I would encourage you to grab a whiteboard and sketch it out just to make sure you're dividing them up into equal groups and figuring out what the total amount is. Okay, so we have 10 2/5 of our box. So I already started kind of sketching out my, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Started sketching out my box. And I divided it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal groups. And we know that in the in 2/5, so these two sections, we need to divide up 10 cookies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I also know that 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5, so I could use my multiplication and division mental math strategies to know that right off the bat, or you can draw them in if you need to. So I know that in 1/5 of my box, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies. So in each one of those, there's going to be 5. In each section, there'll be 5 cookies. And I need to figure out how many are in all. So I'm going to take all those 5s, and I'm going to add them up, or I'm going to do 5 multiplied by 5 sections. So 5 times 5, which is going to give me 25 cookies in my box. At this point, you can go ahead and there is actually a Google form. And then after you complete the Google form, there is a problem on Seesaw for you, the one that I showed the classroom. So go ahead and complete both of those activities before you do any additional fraction games.